Hey, this is Rhino, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there's my pot on mine cry, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Hardbody Harley.
That's me. Oh, I'm over here.
Hard to resist.
I know right now.
Are you giving that really like that grimacing smile with the veins popping out of your neck?
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Hardbody Harley, I got some news for you.
What's that like?
I'm coming to Toledo.
Oh, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I heard a little something about this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So me and Angio and Chance are going to come to Toodly-Doo, Toledo, there in mid-August, and see if we can't see a wrestle within the rules.
Yeah, well, within the rules, Timo. Now that's something that we might have to talk about. Maybe. Just tell Chance that he had a bad camera angle from wherever he was sitting.
Right.
If there was any cheating going on. That's all.
We're going to do that. We're going to come and see you, Mr. Ben Harley. I think I'd like to go see our buddy Rhino's Big Daddy's Boatyard. I want to go see that too. Those are the two main things that we want to do. So I'm going to have to get a hold of Rhino here to see if he's going to be around in town.
Yeah, I'll try to make sure I'll get with him too.
Okay.
And we'll have to find some fun stuff to do.
Okay.
Before the grand lustrous potato hate gets a hold of you. Yeah.
You could always just take a film crew with you, and then you guys could be taking an innocent family around the zoo, you and your clowns.
Oh, that would be great. That would be awesome. Like, yeah. Come on. Look at the elephant. Look at him. Like, oh, Dad, I don't like these
Mac.
Oh, it'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be. So we're going to be there.
Well, we got to cut a smarmy lawyer promo.
We might have to.
So
We're
going to have
to put my glasses. I don't have hair to slick back anymore, but I'll try to slick it forward. How about
we'll
that?
do something. Yeah, we'll do something.
I'll give a George Clooney smarm, and I'll slick it forward. So
that's going to be a good one.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait.
Mr. Ben Harley, also update on ENGO. She's doing she's halfway in the space-time continuum as we record this. She just got done with her third chemo.
Yeah.
And then after this week, so then she does chemo one day and radiation every day, every weekday. And then after this week, she's halfway done. So she's still doing okay. Yes. She's got a couple days during the week. It's like a crash. So she takes a chemo on Mondays. Tuesday, she goes to work. She still feels okay. She's taking radiation every day. And then by Tuesday night, she says she starts feeling like real depressed and real like, blah. She said, not like pain, not like sick, but just blah. And so it lasts for a couple days. And then by the weekend, she's kind of peppy again. She's kind of up again. So far, that's where we're at. I think it's a cumulative effect, though. So by the end, she might have a week or so where she might need to relax a little bit. She might. What I'm saying is, for a week or so, I might have to watch my childlike sense of humor that doesn't always go over so well in mixed company. So, but doing okay so far, doing all right. So, been watching a few things. They're going to run through them pretty quick.
Okay.
Let's see here. I know that you've been watching some Mystery Science Theater. You're going to get to that, I'm sure, but just wanted to report back that we are continuing our from A to Z riff tracks, Mystery Science, all those guys, our little freak out that we're on.
Yeah.
So we are now at Mystery Science Theater Hercules Against the Moon Men, which, if you remember correctly, has sand.
Yeah.
But it was fun though. The Hercules ones are. I think next we have Hercules Unchained.
Okay.
With Steve Reeves. Boy. He's an extra special kind of shiny in that movie.
Yeah.
He's lathered up well. So
Steve Reeves.
Yes. Yeah. So I do have to bust out Angio a little bit because I looked over, I was like, yeah, these movies were real big in the gay community, back in the 60s and 50s. And she's like, why? I go, Anyway, that was about it. Why? I've had that question posed to me before, and we're going to leave it at that. But I had to say, why? Nice swerve, but I know you're checking those pecs out. Nice swerve, girl. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. That was good. So. Let's see.
You almost got me on that one. There.
Let's get the stuff I watched this week, Mr. Ben Harley, real quick, and run through this now.
Sure.
Let's see. From 1973, Mr. Ben Harley, what else is from 1973?
Tim O'Sabin.
That's right, me. Also from 1973, we have Serpico.
Oh, yes.
I watched Serpico with Al Pacino.
Yeah.
That was fun. Hulu had I love Serpico. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Hulu had a documentary that had Frank Serpico. And they followed him. Really? It was one of those documentaries. They followed him around talking to him for like an hour and a half or something. So it got me interested in revisiting the film, and I did. And I'll tell you what, that movie is pretty damn close to what Paco himself was saying. Like, I mean, I watched the documentary a day later. I watched the movie. I'm like, these are verbatim things he was saying.
Really?
Like that how things happen. So very interesting. But a very good movie. Very good 70s movie.
Yeah, I do like it. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but yeah, I do like that.
Let's see. From 1993, watch Slaughter of the Innocents with Scott Glenn.
Okay.
Synapse just put this out. This was their newest movie they had for sale at Retro Invasion Weekend that I picked up.
Wow.
Not too bad. This movie, it's okay. It's an okay, like, 90s thriller with a killer in it.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of like a supernatural Hugh Smith Fudge tinge to it. The guy killing everybody thinks he's supernatural. Okay. So that's kind of it. Yeah, it's okay. It's an okay Blu-ray. I'm very honest, but I love Jerry and Don from Synapse. They're pals and everything, and I love their product. This was okay. This was all right. If you like the movie, congratulations. It's on Blu-ray. I'll put it to you that way. It's okay. It was all right. I'm not upset I bought it. But I was left a little wanting, just a little bit.
Wanting?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And I remembered it not being that great, and it's not that great. It's okay though. There's really good moments in it, but it's okay. I wasn't very excited about the transfer, but movies made in the 90s, like, I think people just didn't know how to focus. Just didn't know how to focus. Anyway, moving on from, let's see, two more, Mr. Ben, two more, real quick. From 1935, 1935, watch the Karloff Lugosi film, The Raven.
What? Did you watch it in the Raven's Nest?
I did watch it. Well, I'll tell you what. I got a 4-pack Blu-ray set from Universal, which was Karloff and Lugosi movies. Old Karloff. Together. They were in together. Like The Black Cat is in there, Black Friday, things like that. So The Raven was in there, so we watched that and had a ball watching it.
It's a good one.
I enjoy watching those old Karloff and old Lugosi. And when they're together, it's fun too, because there's that tension. There's that creative tension. Look, it's completely blown out of proportion about those two. They were actually pals. They were uncomfortable around each other at first because they didn't know each other. Once they started working together, they were pals.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure they had a professional rivalry. Who doesn't? Right? I mean, come on. It's not that big of a deal. We're friends. My band has a professional rivalry with every other band in St. Louis. And we're friends with all of them, mostly.
Right.
Except the dicks. All right, so good time watching Raven. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. Last up from 1981. What's 1981?
The finest year in film history.
No exception, we watched Scanners.
Did you?
Yes, the original Scanners. I like it. Interesting.
You're a Scanners fan, right?
I like Scanners. The problem I have with Scanners is the star of Scanners, Stephen Lack. He's lacking. Yeah. No, he's just not the kind of guy to pull a movie like that through. And when he acts, he kind of talks like this when he acts. Now, I know it's Canadian. And I know the Canadians all have dislodged craniums, just like on South Park, and they talk strange. I understand that. That's a little much. It was a little much. But so the rest of the cast is wonderful though. And the movie itself is very odd and creepy. Although watching it now, I do have to admit, I'm like, if you take the music out of it, what you really have is like Michael Ironside making funny faces, grabbing his head.
Yeah.
But the sound effects and the music really help out those performances. The performances are taking the place of special effects for the most part. So I did get a kick out of that. But Dick Smith did work on the makeup on that. And he is the granddaddy, the godfather of makeup effects. So we had a good time watching it, though, Mr. Ben Harley. Scanners, 1981. What you got? You got anything?
Nope.
Okay, moving forward. You got a couple things. Don't lie to me. Don't fib.
Don't be fibbing. Don't be fibbing, McGee.
Don't start weird rumors between the two of us. I won't get out. Stop it.
Oh, Timo. Okay. I don't want to spend too much time on this because this will disappoint you, Bri.
All right.
But you did send this to me. Did we speak on Halloween 2, right?
Halloween
I don't think
2.
we spoke on it.
No, you watched Halloween 2. You did watch it. You told me that. We didn't spoken about it yet. Now, you're talking about the original Halloween 2 from 81, correct?
No. I wish.
No, you watched the Rob Zombie Halloween 2?
No. The one that it's supposed to be Halloween 2. The newest one with Jamie Lee Curtis and
I got you. You watched the newest Halloween that should be Halloween 2, but it's not Halloween 2 because there's 2 Halloween 2s, and then 2 Halloween 2s is just too many 2 Halloweens, right? So we had to just have Halloween, which technically is a remake of Halloween 2, which has nothing to do with Halloween 2, correct?
Right.
Got it.
Thank
straight.
you. And I just wanted you to explain that so I didn't have to go through
straighten that shit out for you. There you go.
Yes.
Yep.
I actually watched it with Wendy. We watched it, and I've been trying to get her to kind of watch it, only for the fact that I needed to watch it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. What do you hate her? Or something?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
I'm
coming up there to do an intervention. Now hold on.
Yeah, that was a dick move, huh?
Yeah.
No, I just I really wanted to see it. Again, too. I will say I did enjoy it a little bit more the second time. And I think actually Wendy didn't really mind it. It's funny because she really wasn't into it, but as it went on, she started to get a little bit more involved and stuff. But, I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. Whatever. I'm still whatever with it. There are some redeeming qualities about it, but I just don't know that it's just one that I'm going to hold up there that high. I mean, okay, here we go. First off, it doesn't, and we've gone through a lot of this, doesn't have Rob Zombie involved with it.
That's a plus. Yep.
Check.
Yeah.
Second of all, it doesn't have Busta Rhymes in it. Check. Check. And third of all, I guess, I don't know. You gave me a little something that kind of felt a little like Halloween, so I'll give you a check there. But I don't know. I was happy he looked like Michael Myers again. I was. And I mean, I know that's a big stretch. But going from seeing the stuff in part 4 that I like part 4, that mask, and then the mask in part 5 that you basically told me that he went down a well and came out with a completely different mask on. You wanted me to believe it. Then you really don't care anymore at that point.
Yeah,
so
you hate me now.
You just hate me. Yeah. Now Rob Zombie more than hated me. He shoved my face in dog crap. Yeah. Just smeared it in there. Just
smeared.
So
yeah, it was offensive.
Yeah, so at least now, like, I don't.
That money could have went to the homeless. To make that movie. I mean, seriously, and half the cast, it did go to the homeless, I think. But that's
I think so.
Yeah,
you could have just called it something completely different. Like, just whatever. We're not even going down that road. So okay, but I watched it again. So, and thank you for sending me the Blu-ray, though.
Yep.
I do appreciate it. So, one thing that Timo sent me.
Well, hold on. Now with Halloween, so you said Wendy was now I'll tell you, Angio thought it was okay too. But here's what I'm going to tell you about Halloween.
I don't think she didn't love it, but she didn't hate it.
Well, I think it's because they are not as invested in this as we are. So they're just watching your standard spooky movie, and if it had a couple moments, they're okay with it, and it has a couple moments. I'm not okay with that though.
No, I think she liked the fact that what's her name being kind of a badass, wanted to see her go crazy at the end a little, which was okay. I mean, I think, and it was funny because while we were watching it, and my whole thing is,
I like it when the women go crazy.
Well, I just think she wanted to see her stand up for herself.
I understand, type
thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. She has nowhere near investment in it as we do.
Right.
Or,
right.
and it was funny because I was just like, when they were burning him up at the bottom, they had him down in the basement and the flames were going up and they're looking at him and stuff. And I just told her, I said, I think that I finally came to the realization, this is it. I like Michael Myers more than I like Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
And that's it. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Now, what's to like about Michael Myers? Okay, I mean, I'm not a guy that likes serial killers. I'm not that dude. To me, it's scary. It's just, to me, the whole Michael Myers thing to me is like Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
The evil of Halloween. Right. It's Halloween. It's not just a person. You know what I mean? It's the boogeyman. I like it. The shape. For me, the shape is the perfect name for Michael Myers. You call him the shape, I'd have been happy with that.
I think that, like what you said about the Gone and Win with Godzilla movies has already been made. It's the same thing with Halloween. Like I said, with Jaws, it's happened. Yeah. So I just prefer. I mean, I will look at. Yeah. To me, these are people today putting mirrors up, trying to capture an image of something that had happened a long time ago. It's like they're member berries. Well, it's never going to be made as good because the techniques back then lended themselves to those stories. The techniques of film today do not lend themselves to a Halloween story. Halloween was slow and paced, and it was suspenseful, and it was creepy. And I'm not saying they don't make slow-paced movies today, because they do.
Yes, they
but
do.
It's almost like Michael Myers, they can't help themselves. Michael Myers can't be a normal-sized guy that doesn't do anything physically impressive. And Michael Myers never did a damn thing physically impressive, except pick up the one dude and stab him with a knife. He did that. That was pretty cool. That was pretty impressive. Yeah. But besides that, that was your one moment. And it was so slow and just so freaky and creepy.
Yeah.
Now he's like going into bathrooms and beating the shit out of dudes with like his MMA style moves. I'm just, or he's huge to the point where you can't punch him
he's
down.
A monster. Yeah,
it's like one of the two. It's
a monstrosity.
Just make another, Harley, again.
Yeah.
Can we both agree on this one thing at least? Now, whether or not you liked Halloween or not, could they have just replaced Michael Myers with Seth Blanstein? had a clown mask they could put on.
Don't you get down on Seth Blanstein now, damn it.
And Seth Blanstein walks around in a movie called Halloween Night. Yeah. And you would probably say this was influenced by Halloween. Yeah. And you'd move forward. Yep. And you might actually think it was a decent movie. Yep. But you weren't comparing it to Halloween. You were thankful it didn't completely rip it off. Because if you watch this movie not knowing it's Halloween, well, it's close, but at least it isn't ripping off Halloween. It's a sequel, man. Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Well, my problem is, too, buddy, is I can't do the... it's hard for me not to think of Halloween, and I hate to be like this, without part 2, the original part 2. I can't. Mm-hmm. As much as I love Halloween, and it is my favorite horror film, as much as I love Jaws is my favorite all-time film. Mm-hmm. So maybe I love horror films all around. I don't know, whatever. But I'm just saying, as far as like, I can't look at it. It's just weird because I love part 2 so much. And for me, and I used to tell people all the time, you think that was bad? Well, she went through the same 2 movies in one night. You know what I mean? I would say, because to me, that was... And to me, and except for what was it, Evil Dead? Mm-hmm. Not till Evil Dead did that really happen. Like the same thing kept. That really blew my mind as a kid, and still does. And I still think that she should be more afraid of him in this movie if there was a part 2. Because he came after her again in the hospital. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just. I'm having such a hard time with it, Timo. So you know what?
Nothing's sacred anymore. Did you remember when our elders used to say that nothing's sacred anymore? And now you understand it. No, now you understand it. They're taking the creations really of the generation before us. Yeah. And they're turning him into something for the generation after us. And that's very difficult for us to bridge that gap. And I don't think it's ever it's never going to win with us. I think it's the same thing with the Godzilla movies. I think it's the same thing. I've had people I respect a lot go see movies in theaters and tell me how great these movies are. And I look at them like, I don't understand what happened to me.
Yeah.
What happened to me?
Yeah.
I don't like any of this shit anymore. I just haven't really seen much of anything that's that impressive to me. I've seen some things that have an interesting hook.
Yeah.
Let's bring up the movie The Witch, which was a foreign film that came out not so long ago. It was set like the 1400s or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was
in somebody's backyard.
Yeah, it was a gritty kind of movie. You know,
I've heard good and bad about it.
Well, it's a really well made movie, and the time of the film is really. Now, I'm not an expert on 14th century, architecture and tool making, but it looks pretty authentic to me. I mean, it looks like they really went out of their way to make it
enough to suspend disbelief.
To make it. But then at the end, you're just like, why? Who? That's it. What? Come on.
That's the
come
witch?
on. Well, no, it was more like, okay. And it was like this big moment. You're like, that's not a big moment. That's only a big moment if you're 3. I'm just like, it really like disappointed me to the fact that if you just made a different ending,
well, that's what I was upset with this one too. That too. I just don't like the ending either, and whatever. But yeah, here he comes again. Mm-hmm. Well, here he comes again. Okay, well, oh God, I'm done. I'm out, Timo. I'm out. Mm. I love Michael Myers, though. I do, and I will always love Halloween. I'll always love Part 2, and I will fight for Michael Myers as much as possible. But anymore, I'm out. I can't do it, man. It's just
if you want to see the Halloween story,
it's gone way
the true
past
story.
Me,
just watch Halloween.
Yeah,
Halloween 2 is fine as a follow-up.
I love it, though.
It's a fine follow-up because Carpenter was kind of forced into that, and so he had to come up with.
It's not the original.
No, and he had to come up with.
But it's fun. A good movie. It's a good horror movie by itself. I think it's just a good movie. It really is. It's terrifying. It's got good kill scenes. It's got dramatic scenes. It's got 2 of the best boobs in the world in it. Did I say that?
He sure did.
What do you want,
I like boobs, man. I mean, they're kind of nice. I mean,
they are.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, I think like when they made this newest Halloween movie, they were aware of the fact that Carpenter had to write in the part about Jamie Lee Curtis being the sister and stuff to make some kind of story go forward. He wasn't intentional. I'm not even that bad with that.
Yeah. It's got to the point where to me, it's been like that since I was little. Mm-hmm. That I don't even care about that. Actually, I almost prefer that she was his sister in a way. Mm-hmm. I do because I love the part with the sister he wrote on there, and I love the part too that they didn't even have an original when he goes and confronts Michael Myers and says, "You fooled him, Michael. You fooled him, but not me."
Right.
I love that's one of my favorite parts. It wasn't even in the original. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Still one of my favorite parts in Halloween history. Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it.
Right.
So, yeah. I'm sorry. I went too long on Halloween.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
One last thing that you sent me, Timo.
All right.
Another thing I've been kind of putting off.
It's going to be good or really bad.
Well, it's. I don't even know yet. Yeah. It's the movie Head, Timo, that you sent me by the monkey.
Okay. I did watch it.
By my monkeys. So now, you know me. I love the monkeys, and I'll defend the monkeys about as much as Michael Myers. But I don't know. I remember seeing Head when I was younger, and I didn't really get it. I didn't like it. I still don't get it, and I don't. Oh, I get it, and I kind of got it when I was a kid a little bit. Basically, it's just all against, it's anti-war, anti-consumerism,
everything,
a lot of everything. Mm-hmm. But then again, you're showing me the same stuff that you're anti, which I'm whatever. And that it's not just the monkeys; it's the whole '60s bullshit stuff for me sometimes. Right. And it's not all bullshit. I take that back. It's not. It's not all, but trust me. Anyway, I just have weird feelings about some of that stuff. So, it should have been called Headache. To me, it should have been called Headache,
right?
Because it's first off, it doesn't suck as much as it's just bad. It's just bad. Now there are some really cool stuff in that movie, but it's just not done well. It's a whole bunch of just weird stuff thrown together. There's not enough. There should be more music in it. If there was some more music, and they had some good tunes at this time, I think would have helped this movie tremendously. But it's just a bunch of just nonsensical stuff. The ending's weird, but it's kind of like you saw it coming in a way. I just don't get it, and I don't really care to get it. It's now that movie would be good to be put in the background of a party somewhere where you didn't have to hear it and it was just playing in the background.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be a cool little thing. But man, I don't know.
It's not
and I can't stick up for the Monkees on that one at all. No. Nowhere. I can't. And I don't know. Yeah. I'm out. I will watch it again someday to show people, but I'm not impressed. It didn't have any, if it had a couple of good tunes in it, I'd have been happy.
I'm a fan of fucking Eraserhead, man. And I mean, they don't. Eraserhead is that's like the litmus test of everything. And I like that. But Eraserhead has some semblance of a story. It has something going on. This thing is trying to make a statement, but it doesn't know what it's trying to say because there's so many people trying to say different things at the same time. It's just a mess.
You can shock people all you want like that, but there's a thin line or a fine line where it's shocking and nausea. You know what I mean? And that would have.
Well, they tried to bully everybody into taking them serious.
Yeah, and I think they would have the wrong way with that movie.
Well, here's my thing. I don't want anybody to take me serious.
No,
I don't want anybody to take this show that serious. I don't want anybody to take me serious. I don't want anybody to take my music that seriously. I just want them to enjoy it. I don't want them. Exactly. If I can't make something you enjoy, and I make something you just have to work on and pick apart and figure things out. Well, no, you didn't ask for that work.
No.
I mean, you want to be entertained. We're entertainers. We tap dance and we juggle.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Well, it's funny, Todd, and I have this talk. That's why I don't mix well with artists and others because of these things. I'm not out to shock you with my flipping views on life. I want to, not just entertain you. I want you to feel something, but I want you to feel something good.
Right.
Something positive, or if it is not, maybe a guy with the bloody axe might not be positive. Okay, I guess what I just drew. But if you take it and you enjoy it, and it's something that's not going to make you take a bloody axe, hopefully, and destroy somebody. I don't know, but that's about as shocking as I'm going to get for you. I just don't. I want you to enjoy. I want what I did to make your life have a little bit more enjoyment to it. Okay. Right. I don't want it to take away from you. I don't want you to have to sit and think, God, I'm awful because I'm this. No, I want you to enjoy yourself. I want you to walk away and say, man, my life is better because of this, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or my life is more rich. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? And all the accolades in the world don't make up for when someone really truly tells you how you've affected their life or how you've made it better. You know what I mean? That's where it's truly
just an emotion you pulled out of people. You didn't beat them over the head with it. You didn't tell them what to think. You just showed them something or let them hear something that caused an emotional little perk in them. And it means to that person what it means to that person. If you try to dictate what things mean to people, then you're sort of painting yourself into a box. And movies like Head do that. They painted them into a box. They thought they were going to expand. They did not. They contracted. Yeah. And that's what happened. What they did is they showed a bunch of other famous people who are taken seriously, and it just showed you how much the Monkees weren't. That's what it did. It contrasted it. It didn't help them at all.
Well, it was a name dropping thing.
That's true too. That's true too. Yeah.
And that's what it was. And it, you know what? They were bigger than that. They just, I don't know.
Okay, here's my purse. This is my thing. They should have listened to the Suits. Yeah. That's what I think. As a musician guy and as someone who sees things, I understand where they're coming from, but they should have just, it wasn't broke, don't fix it. You know, type of thing. But you know what? Artists are restless. Expanded. And they could have become a parody of themselves to begin with. So either way, they are still notched in history. You still have the Monkees. There are still people that fight for the Monkees. You have it. I mean, it's there.
And there's a lot of musicians. They influenced a lot of people. They really did. More than I even thought of until I got much older.
Oh, I used to watch them when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
I know. They were fun. I liked them. I watched that, and shoot, I remember watching the Jackson 5 cartoon. I watched all that stuff.
That was good stuff.
Let's get to our official little films, Mr. Ben Harley.
All right, Tim, let's do that.
Let's see. Let's go in chronological order. So we'll start with the oldest film first, which is Frankenstein 1970, made in 1958.
Well, I got a riff tracks to tie in with this, Timo. I was on a Frankenstein freakout yesterday.
Oh boy,
because I watched both of these yesterday. Yeah, so I had a long day yesterday.
Okay,
Timo. A long day.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
So, I was going through my riff tracks. Right, I was on Pluto TV, and I came across Frankenstein Island.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say Frankenstein Island. God, I knew it. Just to see Carradine's disembodied head go, the power, the power, the power. Yes. Am I on board?
Yes, sir, Timo, you are. I don't know that there was really much Frankenstein-y things going on in this movie.
No, there was women in little bikinis.
Yes, and I will say it maybe one of my newest favorite riff tracks lines came from this movie. And it's because these they were balloon enthusiasts, hot air balloon specialists, crashed on an island, right?
Yeah.
And they're dopes. These guys are dopes, right? And they look like everybody's 50-year-old, which I'm going to be soon. 50-year-old grandpa, or I mean, dad, sorry, whatever, from the 70s.
Uh-huh.
But they crash on this island, right? And then it's funny because all these natives come at us. And I do believe it was Bill Corbett that said, this movie just got 700% better.
There you go.
And I was like, you're right, because this movie was awful, but oh yeah. Anytime, and it's funny because girls and people, sometimes they ask, like, why do they have girls in these movies? Because these movies are awful. And that is why, because this movie just got 700% better.
It's like when in Manos, The Hands of Fate, when they have the giant cat fight at the end. One of them says, I'm pretty sure this was the entire reason this movie was made.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right.
So I'm sort of on a Frankenstein freak out,
Very
but
good.
Frankenstein Island,
The power
does not have much to do with Frankenstein at all. I'm sorry, it doesn't. So, but yeah, it's a hoot though. It's a hoot.
It is.
I had a blast watching it. It's not good, but it's
right.
fun.
Right.
It's fun. So yeah.
All right.
Timo, thank you. I'm sorry, I had to get that out. Oh.
All right. Well, let's see here. Let me
Yes.
get out Movie Guy and give you a short storyline synopsis dealio here for Frankenstein 1970. Here we go.
Yeah.
Needing money, the last of the Frankensteins leases his castle out to a film company as he tries to complete his ancestors' gruesome experiments at creating life. Here's the thing about this movie. Okay, it's called Frankenstein 1970. So it's supposed to be taking place in 1970. Now, if you saw this in 1958 when it came out, the reason it's 1970 is because like some of the things like the nuclear gizmos that Karloff is getting in this, they thought wouldn't be possible to get in 1958. But in 1970, you could get a nuclear reactor.
Yeah.
They were really looking ahead. They knew that this was possible. So when you go to Walmart, you get a nuclear reactor.
Of course.
But the most interesting thing about this movie is that it's finally, well, now this happened in one of the Universal movies too, but it is Karloff playing Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Not the monster.
Yeah. No,
Well,
he's playing.
He's not the monster, but
no.
Yes, but he is actually playing
Which is a cool
Frankenstein.
little twist.
It is a cool twist. As a horror fan like me, it's, as I say, kind of cathartic to actually see this happen. I know, what was it, House of Frankenstein or whatever, where Karloff played a scientist who wasn't technically Frankenstein, but a Frankenstein-like character, and that was about it.
Yeah.
So this is actually him playing that. So what this is Frankenstein, he still has a castle. Yeah. All right, but I think it's like somewhere in Santa Barbara. It's not in Universal Land anymore, I guess. No, I don't know. But it's somewhere in Earth and Spirit, somewhere in the ether. And there's a movie crew making a horror film on his property. So they are played off like stereotypical Hollywood types. And they're just all up in Karloff's mix. Making this movie. In the meantime, no, he does not like that. But in the meantime, Karloff is doing this because he needs some scratch. He needed the coin. He needed some, which I kind of like. I kind of like that in a way. It was like,
me too.
I'll buy that. He actually needs money in a eating ramen noodle kind of way. So to keep this, although when you have a castle, you're wondering where did all the money go? But anyway, so
well, it probably costs a lot to heat that joint.
It probably did. So, but anyway, so Karloff is allowing this to happen, and then meanwhile, of course, he's up to his Frankenstein-y kind of tricks. He's creating a bandaged man. And so he's kind of using
a giant thumb.
Yeah, he's kind of using some of the cast and crew of this film company, I guess, to complete his, as they say, experiments.
Experiment.
Yes. So, but
because he's really, really cantankerous at first.
Yeah,
really mad, and because they're there, and they're using his grounds and blah blah blah. But then he finally he comes up with the plan. He's like, well, it's funny because he kind of lays it out to them without them really knowing. He said, "Oh, you guys will be fine for basically my plan."
Right.
And then he gets a little and walks out of the room, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, everything's cool." Like,
another snidely whiplash moment. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Seriously, I was like, "Wow, you couldn't have given it away any more."
No.
But they bought it. So.
And Karloff tried real hard to make that laugh not too cheesy, and he did as good as he could. But the director said, you got to give that. Yes, exactly. Yes, laugh. Yeah. So, and that's the thing. It starts the movie actually in a general sense. Now that is really the plot. The plot is like Karloff, that he's a lot of sneaking around in this movie. Lots of people trying to get laid. With like one or two women in the entire cast tried to get laid.
Yeah.
And then Karloff his bandaged monster brain guy or whatever looks just a little disproportionate, don't you think?
Yeah, he's a little weird, man. Like it's the most. I mean, they put a television on his head or something to bandage it. What the fuck? Yeah, I didn't feel like it's threatened by this monster as I did. I felt really sad for this monster a lot of times. I did. Oh, that poor guy. The hell's on his head now? Like, man, so basically what he does, he just goes around and he picks people off from the cast and crew.
Right.
And uses their talents, like the one guy, he has the cameraman's eyes, I think. Yeah. He steals his eyes, and the one guy that had been working for him, he basically used his brain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because he's telling him the whole time, oh, no, you're going to do this. He's like, oh, no, like, dude, just run away from him. No, let him tell you what he's going to do to you. Yeah. And then wait for him to hypnotize you.
Right.
And I'm like,
Karloff isn't exactly physically imposing.
No.
As a matter of fact, he's kind of sad to watch because he's hunched. He's in pain.
Yeah.
He's barely walking.
And I'll tell you what, he nails some stuff like.
He does. Yeah. There's some great moments with him, especially with Rudolph Anders, the Gottfried guy. Those are pretty good. They kind of remind me of Universal creepy moments because the castle looks like an old Universal land, that country in Euro, Africa, European. Yeah. It starts to give that aroma. It starts to get that flavor. And then when it's just Karloff and that Gottfried guy together, it really starts feeling like some of those old movies. Yeah. And there's some moments where Karloff just gives those looks. Those stink eyes,
he does some good stuff. Like, and I miss the fact that actors really don't do this anymore. Where you do a scene that lasts for like a minute, 2 minutes long, like, and they're following you through these scenes, and you're like, and to remember all those lines.
Oh yeah, no edits,
and to do that without, it's just so awesome, man. It just, to me, it's breathtaking, and it actually engages me more into the film. Now, what he was saying in some of these things that, okay, was it all brilliant? No, but the acting and the way he did it was, and basically the one scene is they use him in the film, and he gets all excited too because they're like, oh, maybe we could, they tell him, we can spin this off into a television, series, and oh man, so they'll be here longer now, so he pick more people off, and
right.
But then he's scared because he doesn't want people on television to see his real experiments and to find out what he's really doing and stuff. But
it's an interesting little story. It's not what you expect. It's not the typical people are stranded at the place or I mean, it's just not like that. The story might seem a little done today, but think about 1958 when you went and saw a movie you're like, oh, I'm going to go see another costume drama Frankenstein movie, and that's not what you're getting here. And you got, first of all, a couple honeys in the movie, but I will say the movie starts great. And unfortunately, it has a downward trend.
Yeah.
It seems like through the entire movie. So where it should be the opposite of that. A couple of things here. Every time Karloff played that damn pipe organ, I kept waiting to hear either Smoke on the Water or anything by Keith Emerson. You know, either one. So yes, and the monster does stay bandaged the entire film.
Yeah,
which is probably a good thing.
Yeah,
the
monster left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, it did.
But Karloff, he really did. He brought it up. I think for me with his acting, because they use him in one of the parts where he talks about being a Frankenstein and all that, and he keeps going and going and going. It's like, man, this dude that's some fucking acting right there, pal. That's some, man, you try to remember all that stuff and then make it work and then move around. Oh, man, I was like impressed.
Right.
Very impressed. And I enjoyed that part of it a lot more than than the monster. That's for sure. So, and they do refer to the monster.
Yes, they do
as well.
Yeah.
So I like that.
It's that is, and I got to think you had the same reaction. That starts really good because it starts off. Yeah. Which again, today's been done. Yeah, today's been done 100 times, 1,000,000 times actually. But back then, not so much. Where it starts off with a monster menacing a woman to like a countryside into like a pond or something, and then you hear cut, and they're filming a movie, and that's a cool little opening. And actually, it's one of the better horror moments of the whole movie when they're shooting the movie. I was more interested in what movie they were making than the actual movie I was watching, although I'm not saying it was bad. This is one of those fun movies. I do have an issue with the fact it does fall apart as it goes on. It does get get a little more stupid and a little more silly, and by the end of it you're like kind of rolling your eyes, laughing a little bit, but it pulls you through. And Karloff, he's making a go at it. It's shot real nice. It is black and white, but shot in CinemaScope, which is cool. Directed by Howard W. Koch. He was mostly a producer. But he did produce like The Manchurian Candidate, The Odd Couple. So he's not like a nobody. So he knew his way around a movie set and everything. But I'm going to give it a mild Grape Ape up. Had this movie not trailed on a downward trend, it would have been a big Grape Ape up, actually. But it does have a downward trend to it. But it doesn't right around where you're like, all right, that's enough. It's over. Yeah. But they really could have cut. It is about an hour and a half long. They could have cut about 10 minutes out of it at least.
Yeah, I think so. There was a little bit of stuff that just, is kind of overdone. The laboratory stuff is not real breathtaking.
No, it's and they have a lot of
pace. And some of that, like, I'm going to give it a same thing, a real mild Grape Ape up. I would give it a little higher if it just was paced a little better. And the monster was even like remotely creepy. It's not. It's comical to me. It is. The monster is comical. And then it's at the end,
cartoonish almost, yeah.
Now the end twist was kind of okay, swervy, whatever thing,
sort
of, but like whatever, it didn't throw me enough to go, ooh, So I really just, I like you said, I liked kind of like the premise of it. It was cool to see the different, how the actors act outside of and the director and the producer, how they're different characters.
Right.
It was cool. Right. And like you said, they weren't just trapped in this place. They were there because they had to be there. And, and then, so-and-so left. Well, why'd they leave? We didn't, and it wasn't such a concern when someone left. Like they were like, oh crap. Like, I mean, they were concerned, but it wasn't like, so it was easier for Karloff to continue to do what he was doing, I think.
Right.
But man, for a guy who moved as slow, he's pretty fast at like taking people's eyes out of their heads and attaching them to other people. Because that's probably like a 12-hour, even to this day and age, procedure.
I'm not sure those eyes were anatomically correct either. I don't think the backs of eyes have tubes on them. Like socks on the back of them or whatever.
Sockets. You just plug it in. Turn it right on.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think that it starts off so good with so many good devices, it almost it compromises the rest of the film. I mean, because you're starting off with some neat techniques here that weren't being used a lot back then, and what a big screen, what a wide screen, and you're seeing all this stuff and good looking actors and everything, and then all of a sudden, I mean, you have Karloff moments, but then you have way too much of Karloff, and he's doing his best to keep it interesting doing the laboratory thing, but they didn't give him much. I think they just thought, you're Karloff, you do the laboratory thing. He's like, I laid on my back during all those scenes. What are you telling me? That was Colin Clive, not me. God damn it, I'm not fucking Frankenstein. I'm the goddamn fucking monster. I could just see him just getting upset about it. But it is worth your time. And it's worth looking at. When I was young, I knew of this movie. I thought it was made in 1970. So I kind of thought I was going to get that 1970 grain color, bad washed out grainy color. And I also thought I was going to get a Karloff from 1970. And I no, or close to it. Well, he died in 69. So that would have been a trick, I guess. But they could have filmed it in 69 and put it out in 70. I certainly wouldn't want to see that old of a Karloff doing. I mean, this was almost at the end of when he could do any of this stuff. Yeah. He wasn't moving well at all. I felt bad for him, and that took me out of it a little bit because I know how painful his life was, especially due to those early Universal films where he had all that makeup and all that weight on him that hurt his back. Yeah. And if anybody can empathize with that, I know what that is. And I felt horrible for him. But again, Mild Grape Ape Up, it was a fun little drive-in movie. Look, it's a fun little flick that starts way better than it ends. Yeah. That's really what it is. But it's good enough to check out. If you're interested in these kinds of movies, it's worth checking out. It's better than you think it's going to be. Yeah. But then it's not as good as it could be when you start watching.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does leave you a little wanting. And I think a lot of it's the monster. It really is. And we say that a lot. We say it a lot. And but I just think it could have used a better monster would have helped just intensify things a little bit better. Agreed. I just think so. Agreed. Because people, I'll tell you what, if I went to see a Frankenstein movie at that time period and stuff, when it came out and I saw that, I'd have been pissed. And like, the hell is that? Mm-hmm. That's like Rob Zombie and his Halloween 2 with Michael Myers walking around without a damn mask on.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem too, because
the hell is the problem here?
Right. Well, the fake monster's better than the real one in the movie. So it's that hurts it. You're right. It hurts it. Well, all right. 2 Mild Grape Apes Up for Frankenstein 1970 from 1958. Yeah. So let's go forward now to, once again, Mr. Ben Harley, 1986. Now, last week we did the Hitcher from 1986. So on some level, we're on a 1986 freak out.
Which is a fine year for me. It was a fine year.
It's an okay year.
I turned 16, sweet 16.
There you go. There you go. It's the end of the golden era, let's say. Toward the end there, right at the end. I always say Evil Dead 2 and Reanimator are kind of the bookends. Reanimator, I believe, is 85. This is 86 to 87. So right in here, you're starting to fall apart. We're starting to fall apart. Now, this movie from 1986 was a popular film when it came out, and it is named Witchboard.
Witchboard, yes, sir.
So let me get out Movie Guy and do a short one-sentence storyline here for you for Witchboard. Here we go.
All right.
Friends playing with the Ouija board at a late-night party unleash a demonic spirit who begins haunting them. Okay, in a general sense,
I think that's it.
This movie was known for one reason and one reason alone. It starred a Tawny Katane as Linda Brewster when she was dating that chick who sang for Whitesnake.
Yeah, Denise Coverdale.
Denise Coverdale. I don't know which one of them two is prettier. I can't figure it out. But so Tawny Katane,
one had better hair than the other.
That's true. Well, now stop making fun of Tawny. Tawny is known for writhing around on the front of is it a Lamborghini?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay, so she's riding around on Lamborghinis or sports cars wearing a thin little dress that every boy realized whether or not they were going to be straight or not. Let's put it that way. You knew when you saw that video. What was it? Here I Go Again? Wasn't that the video?
That was the first one. Then She Did, I think, was the other one.
We don't care about those. We only care about the riding around the car.
then that was Is this love?
Oh, that's right. Is this love that I'm feeling? Like, dude, that's not heavy metal. Hate to tell you, Rudy, Sarzo, and gangs, but anyway.
Yeah.
But that's what this movie was known for. And every red-blooded American young man wanted to see this movie because there was the rumor that Tawny Kitaen shows some stuff, and she shows a little. She shows
just enough.
Yeah. Yep, it's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Moving forward. She's hot. All right, let's just get this out of the way. I mean, Tawny Kitaen is just one of those. She's got a little bit of everything. A little bit of the girl next door, a little bit of a model look, a little bit of a sleazy, and a little nice, a little good too. She's got a little bit of everything. Yeah. So basically, they're at a party. And Tawny Kitaen is sitting there, and there's two guys that clearly both like her. One of them's her boyfriend, and one's the ex-boyfriend, and those two dudes used to be really close.
Yeah.
That is the setup for the ultimate love triangle in Hollywood that goes on in tons and tons of movies. So we have that trope right there going on. Of course, the one guy is an expert on Ouija boards, and the other dude's a dick. And of course, the guy who's a dick is the guy that's dating Tawny at this point. So there's a lot of tension between the two of them. And then they start summoning a spirit at this party that starts to attach itself seemingly to Tawny Kitaen. Let's put it that way. And the rest of the movie
becomes obsessed with the Witchboard.
She becomes, the guy leaves the Witchboard or the Ouija board by accident, supposedly. And then, so she starts using it by herself, which apparently is a no. No, you don't do that.
Oh, no.
Parker Brothers says it right there on the box. You don't do it by yourself. Otherwise, you'll find out it ain't real. So moving forward, that's kind of where the movie starts. And then the spirit, the demonic spirit that came through the Witchboard or the Ouija board becomes more and more powerful. Yes. As the film progresses. Mm-hmm. So basically two ex-friends bicker over Tawny Kitaen, use a Ouija board to contact a 10-year-old David, but evil butts in and tries to possess Tawny. Because that's the thing. They think they're talking to a 10-year-old.
Hot.
Yes. They think they're talking to a 10-year-old David. Now, if I was a 10-year-old Tim, I'm still looking at Tawny Kitaen thinking, I don't know what I could do about this right now. But this is one of those things. It's like a shirt my mom buys me and says you might grow into it.
Oh, yeah.
I might grow into her. Let's just say that. Now, I know we've both seen this because this was a big movie. I don't have to ask you because this was a big movie back when it came out. And it went away.
It just
completely fucking disappeared.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like, I don't know. It was big.
It was a big
movie. Yeah, it really was. And I know Tawny Kitaen was most of that, but it was still a big movie. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something right now because I want to know what you think about this. But I was really fucking shocked how I enjoyed this.
Okay.
Be honest with you. I'm being honest with you because I never liked this movie. I thought it was just a cheap ploy to get Tawny Kitaen's clothes off, which I'll watch the movie for. But this time around, I was like, this isn't that bad.
No.
I thought it was much worse.
Yeah, it's God, I can't even remember the last time I've seen this film. But I did see this in the theater. I did go see it in the theater. And I remember it was a big deal. And I met Tawny Kitaen one time.
You told me that.
Yes.
Woo-wee.
And
how'd she smell?
She was super nice, very nice. Like strawberries.
Oh, Jesus.
Strawberries. Strawberry shortcake.
You remember that, don't you?
Yes, I do. She was a looker. Oh, my God. And she couldn't have been any nicer. Like I said, we met her at a White Snake show, my friend. So, yes. Yeah. But, And
she was pleasant to you?
Very nice. She was at the soundboard. It was funny. And
was she writhing on the soundboard?
No.
Because she'd be turning up and down the volume.
Yeah. Well, the band's looking around like, what the hell is going on?
She's doing it again, Dave.
But super nice, super cool girl. Right, she was at the soundboard. We went over, we said hi. She talked to us for a few minutes. And then a lot of other people started to notice. And she's like, I better get out of here. So. But she was super nice, so cool, really nice. And for me being 16 years old or whatever at the time, I was like, whoa, my goodness.
Yeah.
But
understood.
Yes. Yeah, so I will agree with you wholeheartedly that this was the Tawny Kitaen vehicle.
Yes.
For sure.
That's pretty much it. The two guys and the boyfriend and the ex-boyfriend they have to team up. Try to save Tawny.
They could not be any any opposite. Any more opposite, or
it's hard to think these guys were ever friends, and that happens a lot in these movies.
Well, weren't they in medical school together or something weird? And one is too cool for medical school, so he builds houses now.
Right,
it's carpenter. He's too cool.
And then, so here's a couple interesting things about this movie. Get out of the way. This is the same house. That's the house they filmed this in. It's the same house as the original Willard.
Really?
Yes, and also Waxwork from '88.
Yeah, because it sort of looks familiar. Do you, Timo? No, I gotta ask you this question first off.
Okay.
Okay, so now there's the boy they talk to is David at the beginning.
Yes,
and David's a nice little kid spirit that drowned.
Yes,
but basically the other demon that comes through, is not so nice.
No.
And I do not remember. Do you remember seeing this? I can't remember from seeing it when I was younger that they actually showed this person
in a couple of those little flashes where he's holding the axe.
Now, yeah,
that's
I don't
about
really
it.
remember that from when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw it in here, I was thinking, okay, maybe that was just me. And then I'm like, that should have been a bigger issue or bigger thing.
Yeah, they could have embodied the spirit into that guy.
And I'm sure they had. I'm sure they cut a lot more with that guy.
They might have.
And then it either just didn't work because he was a creepy looking guy.
He's a very creepy looking guy. Yeah, they did a couple, like they did a Witchboard 2, and they did an unofficial sequel called Witch Trap. Okay, now Witch Trap has all kinds of warnings all over the box and the movie itself. This is not a sequel to Witchboard, to the point where you know what they're saying. This is a sequel to Witchboard. We don't have the rights to do it, but this is a sequel. Now, Kevin Tenney, the director, who did Night of the Demons, actually the original one, and a few other good movies like this. He directed both those movies, so I don't know why he wouldn't Witch Trap. I don't understand it, and I didn't care about the series enough to bother to know these things anyway. Yeah. But I do agree with you. That would have helped this movie out a lot at the time had that guy had more screen time. Because you're right. Even short bursts like that, he was spooky, man. When he had that axe in his hand, it was like, whoa, that's a good moment.
Cut her head off that one time. I was like, wow, I forgot about that completely. And like, it was a cool little scene. It was like really effective. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I think they could have used that guy a lot more, and this movie might have been a little more memorable.
Right.
Because I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But.
No, you're right, because they basically the threat is either an object falling or something like an old ghost movie, or it's Tawny getting possessed and doing the dirty work herself. That's what most of this film really is. And you don't see a lot of that guy, but you see him enough to know what he looks like. Yeah. But you're right, to visually see him again, he's striking enough. They should have done that. They should have done it more. I did.
So, sorry, I didn't mean but that just like I kept thinking about that, and if I didn't say something, I'd forget to tell you.
Oh yeah. Look, I thought the movie holds up well. Unfortunately, so does Tawny's towel. And the climax holds up too well too. You get an eyeful and then you get a towel.
It's funny.
And that towel is stuck on, man. I'm going to hire somebody from Hollywood when I'm done with the shower to put a towel around me. Because I can't keep a towel on me to do anything. Now, I'm built a little eccentric.
Yeah, you are.
So towels don't like to fit on me, but for good Lord, and I don't know how people do that. You see that in movies where towels are just, they're wired up or something, but still.
Yeah.
It's like, but I didn't like the towel.
No, I didn't like that
towel.
I was mad at that. I was mad at the towel. I will say, of all the scenes in that film, the scene I remembered, I will say
I agree. It's mine too. Yeah,
I was like, I remember the water got real hot. She's trying to turn the water down, and then you see her boobs, and then And I will say, when I told people here, I was like, oh, I'm watching that, and they're like, oh, that one with Tawny Kane. I said, yeah. I said, she gets naked in it. And they're like, like, yeah, huh? And boy, you didn't see a couple 40, 50-year-old guys get real excited all of a sudden. Yeah. Right. I don't get excited about much, boy. There was a lot of Tawny Katane talk for a couple of days.
I bet there was. Yeah. Well, again, I was really surprised. I've never liked this movie very much. It's not like I've hated it. It was just ho-hum. It was...
Yeah.
I didn't think much about it at all, except I remembered it. It was a movie. I do remember the shower scene, but the only other thing I remembered was the scene you're talking about with the guy.
Yeah.
When the guy, it was because it was in the trailer too. So I remember the axe, and I remember him holding that, and like, whoa! That I remember, and I remember her getting naked. And that really is about all that I remember from the movie. Now, going back, it's not that bad, I didn't think. You might have had a different reaction to it, but I was going in with not thinking I was going to dig this.
Yeah.
And I ended up being pleasantly surprised. I'm not going to go back and watch it all the time. It just kept my interest a little bit more than I thought. And I actually thought the acting was okay.
Yeah. And I like his one friend who got killed like right off the bat though. Like,
at the work site? Yeah.
There's one thing he says, like, you'll come after me and be mad at me and blow out my tires or something stupid. And it was the stupidest little line. It was about the night before when David, the little drowned kid, did blow up the guy's tire or whatever.
When they're doing the seance.
And they were making fun of him.
Yeah.
And it was the dumbest little scene, but I laughed so flipping hard over it. And it was like dumb as dumb could be.
Right.
But I had to rewind it and watch it again. I was like, this guy, I wish he'd have lasted a little bit longer. Maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes longer.
Right.
But I will say the one guy that was the worst thing in the film, and it wasn't his fault. It wasn't the worst acting, but who was the guy that thought he was Columbo in the movie?
I don't know.
God, that guy. Like, dude, okay. Columbo
Lieutenant
did this.
Dewhurst?
Yeah.
His name is Burke Burns.
Dude, Columbo did this shtick a long time before this and did it better. Stop it, because it's bad. Oh, like the whole.
He's a
like
dick. The cop's a dick right away.
Oh,
you can't wait to be a dick.
Yeah, it's all about magic tricks. And then he's like, you know what? I couldn't do those magic tricks, but maybe I could juggle. Like, oh, come on, man. While he's in there waiting to see if Tawny Kitane's okay. She's in the hospital.
Yeah.
And they're after him because they think he's the one killing. Oh, God.
Yeah, there's mistaken identity. There's there's a lot of that going on. They're after the boyfriends for killing. I mean, so there's a little bit of that going on. It does have Rosemary in it as Mrs. Moses.
Yeah.
Known from the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah, say from Dick Van Dyke Show.
And Remington Steele.
Yeah. I was asking, I was like, you know who that is? And they're like, I was like, that's from Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm going to give this, I'm going to give it a mild grape ape up. I didn't think I was even, I thought for sure when we reviewed this, I was going to poop on it. I really thought for sure I was going to poop on it. And after watching it, I can't do that. I just can't do it. When this movie came out too, there really wasn't a Ouija board movie. And there was a lot of horror films. That's why we call it the golden era. There was a lot of horror films that came out between 78, 77, and 86. I mean, that decade right there. Now, before that, we had The Exorcist, which had the Ouija board scene, which was very cool. But it's a very small part, that film. And I think going into this, a lot of people wanted to see something that expanded. They wanted to see that. And this is more of a popcorn movie. This is more of a zany kind of horror film. But it's played straight. For the most part,
they really did, Timo. I went into this with the lowest of expectations.
Me too. Yeah.
Low. And now they weren't all met. Some of it was better than I remembered.
Yeah.
Like, so the only part that I thought really sucked was the cop, and they could have eliminated that. Like probably 10 minutes of him. And it wasn't that he was a bad actor. It wasn't needed at all.
Right. Like
his whole shtick wasn't needed. They could have come in. He could have said something smarmy. And you'd have got the sense that, they think he did it. Mm-hmm. And that'd have been it. Right. I didn't need the whole Columbo thing, man. Right. That was just awful. But the rest of the film really was better than I remember.
It was better than I remember too. And I think this is one of the movies that is benefiting from movies today. Yeah, because it's written so much better, and it's not written that great. It's just kind of a standard, kind of written. But at this point, you watch a movie like this, you get sucked in because there's a little bit there.
Yeah,
and I'm not seeing a whole lot. I'm not seeing a whole lot of story, and this had a little bit. And to be quite frank with you, so did Frankenstein in 1970. I think it had a little bit of story to it. So it drives you in and left, and then you forgive things when you don't have a story. You just got shit filmmaking. Just forget it.
Right.
I mean, don't come to me and bitch at me for not. How many times, Harley, have we gotten bitched at? For not supporting independent film. It's like, whoa. We support what we like.
Yeah.
And as far as independent film goes today and films, we kind of stay away from them because we don't want to hurt them.
And we have supported some really good independent films.
Yes, we have.
Too.
And we stay away from, we don't disparage for the most part. I just disparage in general the style of filmmaking today. It's hyper realistic, and it's almost like mumble cinema in a way. And I just give me a Hollywood movie. And just give me a Hollywood movie. I mean, John Carpenter's A Thing was dark and gloomy and spooky, but man, it was entertaining.
It was entertaining.
It was entertaining,
man.
Yeah.
And it's a Hollywood movie.
Absolutely.
It is, from beginning to end, that film is just engrosses you. I don't, even if you're not a monster movie fan, if you're not engrossed by when you watch that film, or you're not on pins and needles watching that movie, you don't know tension, because that movie is wrought with tension. Right. Just the whole thing from start to finish. Right.
So that's
when they made good movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I would put this right up there with like House, the movie House, which came out around the same time. I mean, and honestly, I think what we're both trying to say is we're both fairly surprised that it held up better, because it wasn't really that great to begin with, and it's actually getting a little better with time.
Yeah, I will say
more entertaining, for sure. And that's fascinating.
It's better
to see.
than a lot of these ones that we've watched recently,
absolutely.
Or we thought were good ones.
Yeah,
and we went back and we're like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of agree with that. This one gets a little better. So, all right. Well, we got. So I'm going to give it a mild grape.
More guy with the axe. More guy with the axe.
It definitely needs more guy with the axe.
Yeah.
You're right. But I'm gonna give it a mild grape babe, which to me is a compliment to this film. I didn't think I was going to do that. You're going to give it mild grape babe?
Yeah, me too. Okay. Yeah, and I'm going to give Tawny Katane a major grape ape up. Even and I hate to be like this at the funeral scene for his pal that got crushed, the guy that I kind of liked. Tawny Katane never looked so good in black with a black hat on. Oh, the whole time
just going toward the Wicked Witch look, huh?
Dude, it was so funny, Tim. The whole time the detective's talking to her boyfriend, all I kept doing was watching her. I'm like, and I'm not the biggest Tawny Katane fan of all time. I love her.
She's just a strikingly good-looking woman, and it's not all makeup. Because she doesn't have what you would consider a perfect anything.
No.
It's just, she's so, she's beautiful, and she's sexy. Let's just be honest.
I think you hit it right, buddy. She could play the girl next door. Yeah. The sexy sex kitten or whatever, everything in between. She's
and her looks
not the greatest
makes up for her acting,
but she was okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I'm gonna so 2 mild grape apes up.
Yeah,
for 1986's Witchboard. Yeah, and 2 mild grape apes up also for Frankenstein 1970. I think I expected to enjoy Frankenstein 1970 more, but it didn't pull me back so far that I had to poop on it. But I did not expect to enjoy Witchboard whatsoever. So it was an interesting week. It kind of averaged out.
Yeah, it did.
A little bit. All right, well, let's get out of here. Let's see here. Next week, not sure what we're doing, but I don't know. Maybe, I don't think it'll have Tawny Katane in it. That's one thing I can almost promise. Her acting career was not long and prosperous, unfortunately. No. So now we're saying she could play all these things because our eyeballs are telling us that. Watching the movie, her acting was passable, I guess.
It was passable. There's a lot worse actresses out there that have had a better career than her.
Yeah, it's true too. So, all right, folks. Until next week, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com. Your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.